Hi, I'm Quinten Hyde and welcome to another episode of the Quinten Hyde podcast, where I basically just talk about anything that I don't really talk about in any other place, and it's really only meant for the people that like me and my content enough on other platforms where they're like, hey, I would like to hang out in a way a little bit with Quinten and just, hear some stuff. So, this entire episode is basically gonna be like a giant rant/complaint about the current state of the world because I am absolutely so done with the existence of the virus, the pandemic, and I don't think you're listening to this and you think, hey, what? Why don't you like it? Because everyone loves it so much. Obviously, everyone is done with it. It's terrible, but it really hit me this week, and I thought it has to be on the podcast because I basically already created like almost a mini episode on like Twitter where I just used the new audio tweet thing and I just basically ranted for like almost 7 minutes straight. Or maybe, I don't even know how long it is, but it was relatively long. Thing is, yesterday I was actually supposed to record a video with a bunch of fun creators in Amsterdam, and we were going to do this fun little video that my viewers, especially on Discord, have been asking for a tremendous amount of time. I was really excited to do it. I had a whole bunch of it set up, and it couldn't go through because on Tuesday they announced a new press conference that we have like almost every 3 weeks now, where the Dutch Prime Minister stands and basically tells the current state of what the virus is doing, how we are doing, if there's going to be any changes in law or recommendations. And this one was a pretty big one because the Netherlands is essentially right now the very worst country when it comes to the virus. Which at first, has always, like in numbers, it's still the United States. But they have so many more people, so if you divide it by the amount of people that you get in the country, we currently get the most new cases every day. And it genuinely is, I think it's like a good 5,000 or 6,000 new cases a week, and it's just kind of progressively going up every time. And they basically said there's a whole like bunch of new laws. Every establishment closes at like 8 or something. You're no longer allowed to blah 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 blah. You can't come together in this and this. Only travel. Basically all of that. So my talent, the people that were going to be in the video, they were scared. Or at least some of them were scared. Some of them didn't want to move over to Amsterdam or like travel over to Amsterdam for the video. And we also weren't entirely sure how allowed we currently were to do things. You see, I have gotten at some point people who DM'd me and said stuff like, hey, why have you been recording videos with people within closer proximity to each other than 1.5 meters? This is because the Netherlands has a specific law when it comes to art forms, including online content, which states that as long as you're being recorded and you don't have any symptoms, you are allowed to come closer together. You're allowed to touch each other, masks aren't required in any way, but they're basically like if you are either a professional or an amateur in art, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. You want to record videos for online, that's fine. You want to have a dance crew and touch each other while dancing, that's totally cool. The only thing you're not allowed to do is have a live studio audience. So I followed that law. I have no idea if that law has been changed because it is such an obscure law that pretty much no one knows about, that it genuinely takes like a little bit to find. Like I had it bookmarked at some point because people were like, hey, wait, why are you guys doing? I'd be like, hey, this is fine according to law. But I don't know if it is right now. Anyway, 3 weeks from now, there's probably going to be an update on it. So I don't even know how long this is going to take before I get able to record this. We're figuring out a whole bunch of stuff to be able to do it on like a safe proximity, I guess. I mean, I've always been pretty careful. But here's the thing. That day, it really hit me so much that I had to change my plans. Like I ended up making a very fun video with Mike, another TikToker who lives around the neighborhood, or like in the city here. But the fact that I had to change my plans, that I had in my mind that I was very much looking forward to, as well as having other plans that I can do, as well as having there were some other things I was going to do with some other creators, couldn't do them. There were some trips that I was going to go on with my friends. I mean, this has been like a few months, wasn't able to go on it because all the planes stopped. And it's not like in the beginning, it really didn't hit me as hard. The same time the pandemic hit, my ex broke up with me, and this weighed significantly worse on me. And actually, as a matter of fact, I can honestly tell you, it still does. That still, even to this day, hurts me more than the existence of the pandemic. However, the pandemic is, and this is a Dutch expression that I'm just gonna translate because I love it, it's coming out of my nose. Not literally. I don't have the virus because I did get a test. I had someone just shove a 3.5-meter cotton swab all the way up my nose, which, by the way, it hurts. It really did not feel nice. It's like, it was like in my head, which, you know, makes sense, but I did not love it. I did not love it. It just, it basically, that expression means I'm so done with it. It's every single time. Like, I like the idea of hugging my friends without feeling like I'm committing a federal crime. I hate it. And at first I was like, you know, staying home for a little bit, it's fine. Limiting time in offices, it's fine. But it's getting more and more and more annoying. Actually, as a matter of fact, my most unimportant annoyance in the Netherlands when it comes to the virus is that and when I say unimportant, it's just basically something that doesn't affect people in a whole. It is the fact that you have to take a shopping basket or shopping cart required when you go to a shop, like the grocery store. I hate it so much because I hate shopping carts, and my local one only has shopping carts and no baskets. The reason for that is not because it'll force you to take distance because y'all have shopping carts. It's because it's easy to count how many people are in store, because you're only allowed to have 30 people in store at the time by law currently. So they put only 30 shopping carts at front. If there's no card, you don't get in. But here's the thing. Please find something else for that, because the shopping carts block everything. You have some old frickin' people without a shopping list just standing in front of the thing that you need to get. You can't come close because you don't want to endanger them or yourself or whatever. You don't want to get close. But they have their cart just fully in front of all the products. You're kind of just like, oh my God, hurry the hell up. I hate being here. I've started to hate going to the store so much more because of this. Additionally, the Netherlands just passed recommendation/half requirement to wear face masks in public. At least in public, you don't have to wear them outside, but if you're in a town square or imagine a store or something, stores are allowed to tell you, hey, put this on, go inside. I don't like them. I will wear them. I'm not an anti-masker. I'm not going to be like, oh, and it infringes on my rights and it's not constitutional, blah, 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 blah. It's not like that. But I don't know if you have glasses, but if you don't, if you have a face mask on and you exhale just anything, your glasses are fully fogged up. So I can barely see. And if you have a tip for that, please, please, please tell me. Because I can barely see anything, so I can't, it's a good thing that you don't have to do it when you're riding a bike or something, because I would not be able to be in traffic like that. But it's basically I'm just in the store, just walking around being like, is that the can of stuff that I want to get or not? I just kind of peer over my glasses trying to see if that makes more sense. It's just, it sucks. It sucks. I hate it. And everyone does. You're not going to be sitting here oh, this is such a good year. No, this sucks for everyone. It's terrible. We all want to have it back to normal, or fast forward to just after this is all done. I just want it to also be done. And here's the thing. They're working on a vaccine, but I know for a fact 75% of people are not going to take it, because they say, what is this going to do 10 years from now? This thing has not been tested for long-term effects. And here's the thing. I kind of do get them. I understand finding that scary. I don't think you can blame anyone for finding that a little bit frightening. Everything right now is frightening. I too, I don't even know, do I want to do that? Not knowing if it's because there have been vaccines in the past that have done bad things. Now, again, not an anti-vaxxer. I've been vaccinated for everything. I need to get a flu shot every year because I'm an at-risk group person. I take them. If they've been tested, I take them. But there have been instances of stuff that has only been around the block for 2 years, and then some bad stuff happened. Luckily, this has just barely ever happened. But I do understand people's fear. You know what I'm trying to say? And it's just, here's the thing, and I've been getting a lot of shit for this. I don't think that the virus is as dangerous as people think it is. Now, here's the thing. I'm not a virus truther where I'm oh, it's all a hoax by the government and it doesn't actually exist. Of course it exists. Don't be stupid. And it's probably significantly worse than like normal flus or other flu strains or other strains of the corona type virus or SARS type virus. You know what I'm trying to say? I do, however, feel like numbers are a little bit weird, and that has been confirmed by the RIVM, which is like the healthcare thingy here in the country, who at some point revealed that if anyone at any point had COVID and then dies of anything, that adds to one COVID death. Which means, and he literally quoted the guy who worked there, he was like, so imagine you had the virus or have the virus, and you get hit by a car, and you die in a car accident. They use that as a COVID death plus one. And because of that, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that because of that, like, I don't know how to properly word it, because I don't want to diminish it, you know what I'm trying to say? I don't want to be here like, you know, the virus isn't that bad and we should just all cough on each other or something. Like, no, obviously not. I'm just trying to say, like, I feel like, let's put it differently. I feel like you can feel a little bit more at ease when walking outside and not consistently worry for your life. I think that is a better way to put it. I feel like, luckily, and this is a good thing, if you get it, especially in the Netherlands, like I can't vouch for other countries, the Netherlands has an incredibly low death rate, which is good. I feel like that is the way I should word it. The Netherlands just has a very low death rate, so if you do end up getting it, like, I'm sorry, you're probably going to be very sick for a little while, but the chances of you being fine are statistically around 99%, which is good, which I feel like is a good thing. The thing also that annoys me greatly is how absolutely terrible other people are handling it. Because here's the thing, I put my mask, like, and I'm sure you do this too. You and I, we put our face masks on when we walk into the grocery store. We stay 1.5 meters away from people at least, 90% of the time. We don't go to parties. We don't, lick our friends' faces. We use hand sanitizer. And then there's the other people. The other people that are like, wait, so the rules are gonna be extra worse tomorrow? Well, then tonight we should all party because it's the last day that's available. No, you're making it worse, and you're making the rule, like, you're forcing the government to make the rules extra tight, and then you essentially confirm that by doing the stupid stuff that the rules are trying to ban. It's a very frustrating feeling because I feel like I'm really, really, really doing my best. Like, I'm pretty much not seeing anyone, and if I am, I'm a pretty safe guy in that sense, and I'm sure so are you, and you just have these few people that ruin it every time, and I'm so embarrassed to currently be the country that has the highest COVID rate per, like with the amount of people, like, in comparison. That's embarrassing. It's like, we're like a first world country, which is considered like, oh, you need to be a first world country. Everyone wants to be that. We have a lot of things beautifully in place. If I get hit by a car, I'm not ever going to be paying more than 400 euros of healthcare because my healthcare is settled. And so it's pretty much everyone else's. Like, you have to have healthcare. Everyone has it. Homeless rates are low. In a lot of senses, and I'm not even a nationalist at all, the Netherlands does very well. But then this happens. And you see that even us, who are always like, oh yeah, we are doing so much better, and everyone was kind of like, ah, look at the United States doing poorly, and I'm sorry, but they are. But then we do it worse, or equally bad. It's embarrassing as hell, and I'm embarrassed just for the other people. It's like, oh God, I don't understand how everyone can handle this so immeasurably poorly when you have in mind that if you just do it right, for a little while, if everyone just does it right for a little while, it's gone. Then we can go back to normal. Like, I was talking to some people about this, and we were all like, imagine if we would just lock down the entire country, just a full-on 100% lock, only allowed outside to either get medicine or get food, and if you're an essential worker, no other reason. You work at home, lock in your goddamn house, fully, for 1 month. It's gonna suck for 4 weeks. It's gonna not be fun, trust me. But then you know how much better it would have gotten. You know how significant of a difference that could make. But people just refuse to cooperate, and I I've been thinking, like, I sit in my, I work in office 2 days a week. Like, I'm far away from everyone else because pretty much I'm the only one in the office except for like 10 other people. And the radio plays. And every day, even if there's like stronger rules or anything, I just hear the radio host go, "So the COVID rates are up like 20% in comparison to last week." And every time I just go, because why? I am so done with it. Every time I just think, and I'm sure you relate, I just want my life back. I just want to be able to do things. I want to be able to fly to Germany if I want to, you know? Like, I live close to the German border. Not that I, am very keen on visiting Germany all the time, but it's a fun place. But I can't, because the Netherlands is literally a code red signed country to Germany. They look at us and they go, we're closing up the borders. You know how embarrassing it is to be the country to have borders closed up upon because you're handling a situation so poorly? It's just, oh my God, I don't get it. I don't get it. If we just do it for 1 month or even 2, it would suck. Zoom would make another 5 billion, I don't know. But God, please, I just want it over. And there's people out there, and I hate that negative thought, but they're saying like, I think this is going to be another year, I think this is going to be another 2 years, I think it's going to be another 3 years. I'm like, please, for the love of all that is holy, everything that you and I believe in, please no. And I kind of feel like in around March, vaccines should be ready. But like I said, how many people are going to take those? Are they going to do anything good? I truly don't think it's going to be that long. I feel like it's going to be done around June. I genuinely think. I don't know if the virus is actually going to be gone, but I think it's a very dark thought. I think people around June, and the government is going to have to mimic that, are just not going to give a poop anymore. I feel like I feel like it's going to fizzle out very much, where the curve just goes way, way down because people finally start to obey the law. And then it's not even going to be fully gone, but it's just going to be very limited. And people are like, okay, back to normal life. And I feel like the government is just going to give up and just be like, you know what? We did reduce it significantly. And death rates are like pretty much none. So you know what? Go ahead. Just go live your life. And then every few months we have like this little update where it's like, yeah, it's kind of still lingering, but you're good. And people are just going to forget it. I feel like that's what's going to happen. I don't know if you remember Ebola. Ebola was like, people were scared of that very much in the beginning. And then even though it wasn't gone, all of a sudden people were just like, what's Ebola? Like they forgot. It was just gone. I think it's going to be this again. The only thing that I keep in mind that makes me somewhat smile, and this is going to be a weird one because you might think that you might be like, why would this be a good thing? We are living in a very historical moment. I like hearing history things. I feel like the moment I one day have kids, I would really like to have kids, just for a side note. And they learn about it in history, or even like my grandkids, And in history, they're like, hey, 2020, Grandpa, you were alive during that year, right? And I was like, I can tell them stories. You can tell them stories. Like, I don't know if you want to have kids, but at some point you're going to encounter a kid who might bring it up. And they're going to ask you like, hey, you lived during that year. And you're like, it sucked. And you can tell them these stories like, yeah, we had to wear face masks to protect ourselves. You were not allowed to be in close proximity to each other. There were these very weird laws that contradicted each other constantly. They changed every few weeks. We did horribly. But it's going to be a thing to look back upon, hopefully, and just kind of be like, my God, I lived through that thing that is going to be in history books for generations to come. I feel like that's interesting. And I feel like that might be the only upside to this, solely like allowing you to say, I've lived through a very special time. Because that's the thing, you're going to live through it. I'm going to live through it. One day, we might run into each other and we're going to be like, oh my God, remember 10 years ago, that COVID thing? I just want it to be now. Well, not necessarily 10 years from now. I would not love to skip 10 years out of my life, but I just want it to be gone. I just want it to be gone. And like the thing I just mentioned with like contradictive laws, in the Netherlands there is currently this law which is like you are allowed to invite a maximum of 4 other people into your household from a different household. Like your household doesn't count. So say there's 2 people who live with you. So there's 3 people in your house. You're still allowed to invite 4 other people because the people in your house, they already live together. So it doesn't count for the 4 people. You know what I'm trying to say? So there's these law, like that law exists. And there's been people who were like, okay, so we are a family of 3 and we are friends with a family of 7. Can we invite them over to our house? And the government will be like, no, you can't invite 7 people, 4 is the max. And then the people are like, okay, in that case, we'll just visit them. Because then it's 3 people visiting 7, and essentially putting the exact same 10 people in the room, but then it's suddenly legal. Because only 3 people are visiting versus 7. I know of people who are literally celebrating their birthdays with their relatives in this way, because this is a loophole in the law. That for some reason, that makes no sense, right? But the thing is, I can't blame the government for this one either. Because they need to be specific enough where they're like, not more than this amount of people, because people are otherwise going to be like, how many people can visit? And they're just going to exaggerate it. Or if they are too specific, so they're like, only this amount of people, this also changes when you do, when you change location, this and this and this, then people are not going to get it either. Because unfortunately, not everyone has the right sense of mind in that. And that's not me going like, oh, everyone's dumb. That's me going, a lot of people do not know how to act during these situations, which is pretty much the entirety of this rant. It's like, this entire rant is just me hating on the way people are doing and the existence of the virus itself. It's a confusing time. It's a frustrating time for a lot of people, except for the people who created Zoom. God, and Among Us, the game Among Us. Those 2 companies made bank this year. Bank. Fun fact, I already used Zoom and knew Zoom long before this, years ago. I didn't know that so few people knew about it. I heard so many people being like, huh? What's Zoom? Never heard of Zoom. I've been using it for years. So it's kind of funny to see how it became fully mainstream, but I also do think a few years from now, people are going to have such bad connotations with the existence of Zoom, just thinking back at the virus. I think no one's going to want to use it anymore. The same way my cousin, she used to wear face masks as an accessory. She liked, or very much likes, Korean street style, which uses those sometimes. I feel like she is never going to wear them again after the pandemic. 3 years from now, she's going to be like, oh, yeah, no. I feel like everyone who liked to wear those kind of just has a whole connotation just wrong after this. But like I said, I actually put a tweet out there which I thought was very funny, and it was like half a joke and half a serious thing, where it was like, hey, kind reminder, it is all going to be okay. Before you know it, coughing on your friends is just going to be gross again and not illegal. So hey, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you want to share anything with me, you can either tweet me at Quinten Hyde, or if you're listening to this on YouTube, you can leave a comment in the comment section. But thank you so much for being here, and I would love to see you next time.